We'll start with the invocation and pledge of allegiance, if you'll stand. I'll do the invocation first. Father, thank you for bringing all of us here today to do your work. Help us to be mindful of the needs of the city and of its children and of its other residents as we make decisions about complexes and parks and trails and things that have to do with the well-being of all of our citizens. We thank you for all that you do for us. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, first is we have an approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion for approval or disapproval of any changes?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Public comments, do we have any, Jennifer?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so we can move on down. Public presentations, Jennifer?
We do. We have two. We have our intern, Tyler Cockrell, who is going to do a risk assessment update. I think this is something that Kevin had requested, and it's something that Tyler's been working on. If you remember, Landon, I know it's just kind of go with the flow. We'll update you on this stuff. Over the summer, our interns did a huge document that went back through to do risk assessment for our complex, and so we're carrying that through, and Tyler has a presentation that he will get up and give you an update as to where we're at. So Tyler, if you take the floor.
Hello.
Hello.
So like she said, I'm Tyler. I've met most of y'all, but I'm the intern for the Parks and Recreation Department right now. I have a presentation that should be there shortly.
Hopefully.
Move the mouse.
All right, give me a second.
Technical difficulty.
There we go.
Woohoo! Hallelujahs.
Alright, so as you said, last summer the interns came and they started working on this risk assessment. So they went through the whole park, and their initial thing is they went through and they documented all the repairs and hazards of the park that needed to be replaced, just in order to enhance the quality of the park and the quality of experience and the safety of the people who come in. And so they did that. They created a document that was very extensive. It had pictures of all the repairs that needed to be done and everything like that. We do have that if any of y'all would like to see that. After that, they went and they broke it down into what they call the risk assessment. And so they began to categorize all the hazards that they found. And so they created this document right here. And so this document, the way they did this is they categorized it by priority all the way on the left, then the section of the park, the issue, and the plan of action to fix the issue. And so as you can see, they rated it 1, 2, and 3 priority. So red is the highest priority, or showed the most risk to the participants that come to the park. And then they had the section of the park, they broke it down into 3 different sections. And then they had the issue and their recommended plan of action to fix it. So some of this has been adjusted off and on just based on what we can do and things of that sort. And so I'll show you this later on more up close to where you can actually see it. And so, like I said, they have the priority section, issue, and then the plan of action. And so we'll come back to this. And so what I did from there is I took that and broke it down a little bit farther to something we can use to make decisions based off of. So what I did is I added another section, difficulty and the estimated cost, just roughly if it's going to be expensive, something we can handle easily or not. So that way we can use this to make decisions on what repairs we can handle right now. So as you can see, we need a concrete pathway to the access ramp at some of the bleachers. And so we see that that's a high priority, because you see on the left is red and it's a number 1. But we also see that's difficult and fairly expensive to do, because we have to bring in concrete and everything. But then we also see that we have a lot of open wires around the complex, and we see that that is a high priority also, because it presents a fairly large risk having exposed wires, but then also it's easy to handle and it's fairly cheap to handle. We just have to have them come in and get covered and put up. And so from here, I use this. I did this to all the, as you can see, I did this to all the different repairs that they had. Just went through and categorized them that way. And then from there, what I did is I took it into recommended repairs. And so based on the previous breakdown that I showed you that had the difficulty and the cost, we looked at what our resources are at the moment and what presented the highest hazard to the people who are coming. So we took that and we created this, which looks like all the other ones, but it's just basically it's the ones that we have the resources to handle and that can be handled easily. And these we think would make the most impact to what the visitors see based off on what we can do right now. And so look closer up, you see that handles things such as the open wires. We'll get those handled. That'll eliminate the risk of kids coming around grabbing wires and anything, and also it's an eyesore. It contains things like cleaning out certain buildings that we have, we have a building that the emergency exit is blocked partially. We have some that just need general cleaning and maintenance on the inside to make them more functional for the participants. We have some open outlets that need locks or lock covers so that they're not accessible to the general public. And then you see down here that, again, electrical boxes, there's the gates that the ground isn't level, so some of them are hard to close, which damages the fencing more whenever we try to close them. And also it hinders us from locking the areas of the park that need to be locked. And also we have holes in drainage areas down at the bottom. Some of these need to be filled because they present a fairly large trip hazard to participants coming in, and it's a big liability to us. So these are what we feel that would make the most impact and that we can do with our current resources. And we're going to turn this list over to Public Works to start working on some of this stuff. And then, so that is my current list. I have copies of that now if y'all want those. And then, so that leads us to what's next. After we give this list to them and we start to knock out our list of things that we can complete right now, that'll give us a lot less to work on because we've knocked out the majority of them. And so that'll make us be able to knock out the larger items on the list as the opportunity and resources come available. And so that is where we're at with the risk assessment. If y'all have questions or want more details, just let me know and I can get to you.
What did the asterisks mean on the status?
That was just something for me whenever I was going through it. Those were the ones that I was taking and putting on the list of like currently completable ones. That was just an indication to me that I already handled it. Should have deleted those, but I didn't.
Okay.
Have y'all met with Public Works about this? Because, I mean, it's two different departments, so that always is kind of an issue because what you think is a priority may not be a priority for them. So I'm just wondering, has there been any conversation about it?
There has. We have spoken with Mr. Lott about it, and we will be having a meeting with him. This priority list is something that has to be done. Unfortunately, our department does not have the means to be able to do it. We don't have the staff. So it is a working partnershap, and the list that we have is something that's easily attainable by their department. The larger ones, we're going to have to contract out to get some of the, the fencing and stuff like that, where Public Works can't handle that. So, but yes, we will be. This whole presentation, all of the updates, all of that stuff, probably in the next 2 weeks, we'll be getting to sit down with them and go over everything detail by detail. Because as some of you might know, the wintertime is kind of a slow time. So that's when we're able to, kind of catch up, so to speak. There's not as much grass cutting and all that stuff. So it helps alleviate the burden for Public Works.
Because a lot of it'll have to be in your budget, because you'll be responsible for materials and stuff. Even if Public Works helps you with it, I would think it would come out of your budget, so.
Not exactly. The way that the city's budget is aligned right now, Rhett has a lot of the public facilities, buildings, and grounds are in his budget. So he has certain stuff that he's budgeted. The majority of the stuff that's on here is well within our budget, and we're able to do it. It's the heavy ones, you know, like if we have to do, like, again, fencing, putting the concrete down, those kind of things. That's something that we'll have to take back to council when it comes to budget time and say, these are priorities, and it's up to council to decide, you know, how they want to proceed with that. So it is a joint effort.
Yeah.
So the cleaning, some of the general maintenance stuff that looks like it might just be something that needs to be done every month or every quarter, are we not getting the I guess the teams and stuff that are using those facilities, or using them at all to assist with some of that?
They do a little bit, not a whole bunch of it. The MOUs are very different for each user, and you know, they're paying to utilize the facility, so some of that fee helps Public Works to be able to clean and facilitate. Plus, we also pay our guys overtime to come in. If there is a specific game or something like that, then they'll come in and clean the bathrooms, all that kind of stuff. And right now, we don't open them to the public. We just don't have the manpower to clean them every day. So yes and no. If you're kind of didn't really answer everything, but yes, there is some in their MOUs.
Any other questions y'all have?
Are any of the items, I'd have to go back and relook at the list, but are any of the items, and would the city allow a volunteer workforce to come in and like clean up some of those areas, some of the simple stuff? Are there enough points on that list, you think, that could be handled by a volunteer work party?
I could put electrical tape on exposed wires.
Yeah, I'm sure that we could. We can. We have our department head meeting tomorrow, so we'll be talking about this as well. But yeah, we have had some groups that come in the past. It just depends. Like we've had the high school. John Paul II came in and they cleaned up the area that the dog park is now currently housed in, and it was night and day. So there are some things that we can do. Eventually, it'd be nice to have like Friends of the Park that come out and take it on, almost like adopt a plot, adopt a site. Until we get the manpower to do it. Right now, it's just me and Brittany, and then when we're lucky enough to get interns. So I think it's a good idea, especially with partners. We have folks that are right here downtown. We've got Margaritaville, Sun City, Hilton Head Lakes. There's tons of retirement communities of folks that really do want to give back. So I think it's a great idea. There's some liability issue, but I think the city would be able to assume some risk for sure.
Okay, any other questions or comments? No? All right, thank you.
Thank y'all. Need this stuff back.
Did you have another presentation, Jennifer?
We do, and Mr. Parsons could not be here. He had training in Columbia, so he did want to make sure that we got his presentation. As some of you remember, the city, Mr. Parsons is our grants administrator, I think, among several other titles that he does. But what he does is he facilitates all the grants. He goes after the grants. So one of the grants that he's going after is a trails grant, and that's through South Carolina Parks and Recreation. So he had a quick blurb, and I think we're just gonna play it through so you guys can see it, and I can kind of talk a little bit about it. So this is the area, if you can see where the trail marking is. Probably not, and I don't have a pointer, but that's okay. We can improvise. Right, we can improvise. No, I'm good. I won't be able to see it in there. Okay, so this is our entire complex right here, and what we're trying to do is find connectivity from the complex right here all the way over to where our new rec center is going to be. So we have limited resources of how we're going to build trails. Obviously, we've got Main Street. Are we going to do sidewalk pass all the way down 17? Is it safe? So this is the master plan that we have approved. And then if you want to click to the next one. nice. This is an excerpt straight from the approved ALTA plan that was approved, I think, in 2017, I believe. And this is part of the trails. We do have some of the East Coast Greenway, which has not come to fruition. It's probably a good 10 years down the road for that. They're still having some issues down at the Georgia, South Carolina side to see before we can come up. Bluffton is progressing pretty good. They're on kind of the opposite side right there. So you can see all these different connectivity pieces of trying to get tourism and all these places in and out. And also here is an area all the way in and around Hardeeville City. That's right in the cluster. And then there's Hilton Head Lakes that's off to the side. And then there's some more that comes in and around and goes all the way out towards Jasper, Sergeant Jasper Park. Big conclusive area. And then we also have another one that's over by the hospital, and I think they're building maybe another hotel or something that's over there. So, but that's just an excerpt to show you kind of exactly what it is. And if we can go to the next one, kind sir.
I'm sorry. Mouse got stuck, sorry about that.
That's all right, I'll be Vanna. Okay, so again, here's kind of a big blurb of what we've got. There's an existing drainage channel, looks like an access pond. Where is Epps? Let's see.
Down a little bit.
Here we go, right here. Okay, so there is an access point that's right here. We are not using that as an access point. Well, you might know it's there, or you might know it's there. There is an access point, but that's not what we're trying to do. It's just not a good feasibility. So what we're looking for is to try and have this trail that goes up, down, and it will encompass this area all the way up and around, and we can have 2 points of connectivity. We have one that goes down, this is McTier, and it goes straight up. That will also get where the Royal Live Oaks is, kind of where the red dotted line is, and then directly across from John Smith, that's where our rec center is going to be. So we have not only walking paths here that, again, the public can access. You also have some natural areas that can go in and around, and this is where the grant part that we're applying for, where we're also going to be working with DOT to try and get this. So.
Is that paved or is it planks, wood
A
planks?
little bit of both. This part down here will be paved. That's the part that we work with DOT, and some of this will be mostly natural area. I don't know if some of you that might remember, it's for about every mile of trails, it's anywhere between $300,000 to $400,000 a mile. It's crazy.
How many miles is that, Jim?
This one, it's not quite 2 miles total.
Okay.
So,
I was thinking about that, I just was
yeah.
not sure.
Now the whole plan has tons of them, and it's gonna change. We have the area in East Argent as well, but right now we wanted to focus solely on that connectivity piece. We just have to dig in, find exactly what we can or can't do. Of course, money is always a big point, especially with grants. And this one makes better sense. It allows the folks that are in downtown Hardeeville, and again, you don't have to walk it. You can bike it if you'd like, but it does give them, a whole different avenue of having to get back through there. It takes people through our park. It shows, a different area on this side. There's close access to businesses on the other. If you wanted to go over and get a drink or soda from a gas station or something, so we're trying to work all the pieces and stuff together. So, you want to go to the next one? I think there's 5 priority projects as well that were in the master plan. So again, this is kind of part of the piece that we're looking at, and starting right here, it'll come down right around here. This is where the other piece is going to come back through. This is where the current little dog park area is, but there's an area access point that goes back through here. So that's part of our priority project. The grant that we're seeking to do is going to come up and around. And again, down here through partnership with DOT, and it takes you straight down to McTier and John Smith.
So it's right on the other side of that canal.
Yes, yes. Yeah, and it's very wet. Oh, you probably know since you're back there. That's why a lot of people that always ask about the Epps, which I hate to walk in front of this stuff. Right here at the end of Epps, there is an access gate that allows access into the park. It's just overridden, and we've not maintained it or anything. but it's super, super wet. And there's a huge pond that's back there, you can see it. It's almost 13 feet deep, so it's a big retention pond. So, next one. And again, it's in line with the passive park system, and what he's showing you in this is, again, where we're coming off of Randall and showing you that access point. It takes you all the way around, and again, if we had all the money in the world, we could do all of this right now. We can't. We have to take pieces of the pie, but the goal, like I said, adding that piece up there, which is the part that we're going to be applying for the grant, and then being able to add all of this in sections. And those are also the existing conditions. Next.
All right.
That's it?
Oh, no, there's one.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. Oh, and then he's showing you, this is again, this is an excerpt straight from the Alta plan, and I think it answers your question, Landon. There's different ways, to get about. You've got boardwalks, obviously. Anyone that has been back there, I know there's probably folks that like to sneak out there. It's a very pretty area back there, but it is wet. There's several little canals that go back there. But I mean, this thing right here is absolutely amazing. If you've been to Hunting Island or any of those areas, I mean, it's a really pretty thing. And we have that in our back door. And then you also have this. I think Bluffton is accessing some of theirs, maybe on their, I don't want to speak for Bluffton, but I'm pretty sure they have some trails that they put in.
Even Jasper Park has some nice trails around.
Yep, they sure do. So, there's all different kinds of ways, whether they're old railroad tracks or tracks where you have your lighting and all that kind of stuff that you do. Electrical, I get grids is what I would call them. And then again, you also have some right on the roadside where right now we've got a little bit of parking, but then you also want to have good space for that as well. And East Coast Greenway recommends about 8 to 10 feet wide. So if you go out right now and look at our little sidewalks there, it doesn't accommodate, so we don't meet those requirements. So, okay, next one.
Here we go.
Hopefully. Okay. This is another part of the priority project, so we're trying to meet a whole bunch. Let's see what he's got. Yeah. Okay. And again, I think what he's trying to do is give you a snapshot of the whole idea of where we're trying to go to make our city a little bit more bikeable, walkable, that kind of thing. So the main one for the grant that we're going to be applying for is part of the connectivity piece from here, right here, and then back. This ultimately will lead in right here and then continue to go around. But the main piece is this little purple one up here and all the way down. So there's that little blurb of a section is what we're applying for. And it's a little over $225,000, I think, for this grant.
So the purple on the other side?
On the top side.
On the bottom side, though, is that
Yes.
sidewalk then that goes along those roads?
Back.
Right
They're
there?
paths. Whoop.
Or that's,
Yes.
So that's not along the street then? The purple on the left side of 46?
No, right here on this side.
Correct.
Yes. No, those are on the back side. There's a road that's back there. That's the back part of the library and all that.
You get
that's
the
back
fire,
here.
yeah, the fire station.
Yes,
in. But
yes.
is that, are they talking about adding sidewalk there? Because I know there's.
That's part of the idea.
Okay.
Yes, because if you think about it right now, if you go all the way down 46, you can't bike and you certainly can't walk it if you're going to go in the swamp one way or the other. So I guess the Alta plan was trying to find alternate routes to get you to different points that was a little bit more safer. And that's a huge partnership with DOT because we don't own the roads, sidewalks, all that. So yeah, but a lot of this was addressed in the plan, and again that was back in 2017, and here we are in 19. So we want to start doing something. We don't want to have a master plan and have it sit on a shelf. So we're actively trying to pursue. But it's a very big plan. I don't know if you haven't seen it, just come by my office. It's massive. I can send you the link for it. But you can see just for this little section, this is Project 4. This is the downtown side path and sidewalks. That one's at about 400. It's either 454 or 434. I don't have my glasses on. But just that little section from here to there. This little section. Whoop, from right there. That's how much that is.
Because
So.
we're putting the sidewalk on people's property?
No, DOT owns the right of way, so it wouldn't be on their property. We would have to negotiate with
It's just
DOT.
money. It's just money.
Yeah.
So is this part, I know I came in late, I apologize profusely. Is this part of that master plan that we've already seen, or is this above and
This is
beyond
part
that?
of, this is part of the Alta Trails and Pedestrian Plan that we already have. It was done in 2017.
So this is totally
council
separate
adopted.
from the master plan about the park?
Yes, yes. Mr. Parsons is not here, so what we're doing is trying to give you a roundabout of why we chose what we chose and how it encompasses the trail that we have already, or the master plan trail that we have already, so. Okay. You all can read that, I'll need to read it to you. But this is who we are requesting the money for, so.
Jennifer, in this area,
Hmm?
a city our size, is there anything like this out there? I'm not talking about Bluffton because they obviously are,
Oh, yeah, there's ton,
Way ahead of
like
us,
our
but-
si- Yeah, I can show you some examples of that for the next meeting, or I can send them to you. Yeah, there's tons of them. The hard thing sometimes is thinking futuristically, and some communities are really, really great about making sure that they have those things set aside. Some of the older communities like Hardeeville, there's several of them. They're kind of used to the old way of, we have to have our sidewalk this path, and, like I said, if you do use Bluffton as an example, because they're a perfect example, when you look at their walkways, trailways, they're at 8 foot or more. So they're planning ahead of the requirements needed for certain trails, but it doesn't mean that it can't be fixed. And it
they
can't
got
be
a lot of
changed.
state money when it was out there
Yeah.
though.
So, well, we're going after it.
A lot of it's dried up that they
Yes.
got, but.
Yes, we are trying to find any kind of grant, like I said, any grant opportunities that you all can find. We have been trailing, looking, you name it, and everywhere to try and find, different ways of trying to get some funding. And it helps, like I said, it helps the city, become more active, not only physically for your health, but, it's a good connectivity piece. And it allows different communities to access us, just not by vehicle, by walking or, your bike. If you wanted to bike over to Bluffton, it's a beautiful ride.
Well, it's a
But
draw
you
to
can't,
bring
yeah,
people
you can't.
into the area too.
Yeah, you can't get there. But if you wanted to, go over to Sergeant Jasper and you didn't have a vehicle, well, you got to cross over 46 somehow. So having these trails and stuff in place, is a good way to make all that happen. So.
Well, in our downtown area, a lot of those people don't have transportation, so there's a lot of walking. People that live out have transportation, but
Yeah.
people in the city
Yeah.
limits a lot of times don't.
You're absolutely right. So this is the first phase of the project, and it's going to use the trail program and city dollars. It's about 5,000 linear feet, and 8 foot in width, and that's part of the ADA accessibility compact aggregate base, and that's also for East Coast Greenway. For anyone that's not familiar, that's their base, 8 foot. And then the total phase project cost is going to cost, just for that section of connectivity, is about $350,000. The grant request that we're putting in is about $100,000. And then there's a 20% match, which is going to cost about $25,000. And then we'll also be soliciting funds, whether it's through ATAGs or other stuff, because this can help with tourism as well, getting folks from complex to complex. So, thanks.
So the city has committed to give you ATAX money for that?
No, not yet. We haven't gone after that yet. No, ma'am.
Okay.
Not yet.
Just wondering.
Oh, no, not yet. And this is exactly what the funds uses. And if you need us to print this out or send this link to you, guys, we can get that to you. But it goes into detail exactly what the Trails program does. And there's a lot of smaller communities that have been awarded the money and have done fabulous. It's great. And I think that we're actually going to get a little bit more money this year. I have heard some rumblings from the assembly, so that's a good thing. Next. And these are the things that are not permitted. Like feasibility studies, if you want to do master plans, playground equipment, it's solely for the trail system. So if you want to do a trail and you had an exercise station or what we call pocket parks, the little fitness stuff along your trail, it's not going to cover that.
But you're still allowed to put that along the trail, it's just not gonna be paid for?
Yeah, it depends. Some of it we will, some of it we wouldn't. In this particular area, we wouldn't, because there is part of, so we've got Mateer on one side, part of it will end up being commercial, the other part is residential, so I'm not sure that we would do that, and you don't want it on a main thoroughfare. So
I was gonna say, where would you?
more internally. Next. Okay, I promise this will be short. Okay, and there's our grant schedule. Neil handles all this stuff. Our department works in conjunction with him. We get him all the information, stuff to put into the grant, what have you, and then applications. We've already submitted already. I think we're gonna have the final in January. And then, he's gonna go to the, he's gonna be the okay, so he'll go there, and that is a requirement for everyone that you have to go and attend. And then they go through all this stuff. So, it's going to be June, July before we find out. As with the state, sometimes it does take a while, but if it does go through, it'll be very exciting for us. So our commission can say, look what we're doing. This is, what we're moving towards, part of our goals. Next. Okay. I'm sure Mr. Parsons would have done a much better job. Sorry. But he is working very diligently to get this into play. So, but that is all of our public presentations.
Okay, any other questions for Jennifer?
No.
All right, if not, we'll move on to old business. Jennifer, is there any old business we need to discuss?
Let me see. Don't think so. Yes, there is. Hold on. This is probably. Oh, I found an error. Okay. For the Richard Gray. Obviously, I think you all know that the Richard Gray complex was done and it was completed as far as the master plan. So it is done and adopted. So congratulations. I think that was passed in September. Late August, early September, I think. So that's great. And also, too, the sponsorship policy, I think I've already updated you, but just so you guys know, that did go through. So we now have an official sponsorship policy. So we're good to go. But other than that, I think that is it. No other old business.
Okay, so moving down to item 7, presentation and approval of minutes from August 12th, 2019. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Nope. Then if not, can I ask for a motion for approval or disapproval of any changes?
I move to approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. So we'll move down to item 8, new business. Jennifer, I know you have the dog park on there, so.
Yes, the much anticipated dog park. The dog park was passed and approved at the last October meeting. So it will go exactly where it was intended in the master plan. And I think we have $120,000 that we'll be putting towards it, and that is phased. So you'll start seeing movement on that by the end of this year. But I wanted to let you all know that council did approve your recommendation, and it has been passed.
So how long do you think it'll be before the dog park is finished? If it starts toward the end of this year, what are you anticipating?
It is a 2-year project. Within 6 months, we'll be able to put dogs in there. Some of the parts that we are waiting on are the most expensive, like the plumbing and all that. But as far as the fencing, some of the shade, all that stuff, it'll go in very quickly. We are hoping to have that up by June or July.
So they could be used this summer. That'd be
Yes, ma'am.
awesome.
Yep.
Any questions for Jennifer about the dog park? I know they've been hashing this one around for a while, so.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so moving down to director report.
Okay. I'm not going to go over every little detail. All of you have the October newsletter. I also included the November newsletter in there, so just want to go over a few highlights with that. The Festival on Main, many of you were there. Hopefully everyone had a great time. We've got a lot of good feedback. And then we've also had our AAR this morning with the committee. The AAR is the after action review. And that's just where we go over the good, the bad, the ugly, all that stuff. And we had pretty good turnout on issues and things that we can, I think, easily do. We do have some challenges coming up for the next year, but we are going to start early to get our public committee going. Last year we did try, and I think we had 2 or 3 that said they would help, and by the end of it we had Kevin, and that was it. So that's very important that we have volunteers that come out and help and serve on these committees, because it's the public's festival. You know, we can put on all kinds of different festivals, but we want it to be something that the public is going to come out and enjoy. So we did have sponsorships. We'll have an update probably in the next couple of weeks that'll give you the exact budget for that. And we had a little over $25,000 in sponsorship, and the rest of that was ATAX. So I think we're actually going to end up giving ATAX some money back. But I think it was really well received. It was, if you didn't hear about it, you must be living under a rock. It was on news reels, on the radio, it was on Facebook, Instagram, it was in the newspapers. So every form of reading material that you could get your hands on, it was on. So very proud that we were able to pull that off. The Battle of the Badges, well, the police department helped raise quite a bit of money. They actually won again this year, and we did surpass our goal. Our goal was to at least meet $4,000, and we have surpassed that. So that's just phenomenal. And all of that money, it's 100% of those proceeds go to JDRF, and that's the Palmetto chapter. And for anyone that was there Friday night, Kevin was actually out there. He is the director of the Palmetto chapter. His daughter is a type 1, just like my son. So we kind of like chat. And you see someone out in the pub, like, oh, you got to talk to him about it. So the police did not secure a win. The win went to fire. So much congratulations to them. And I can tell you that the AAR this morning, we definitely want to keep the Battle of the Badges a little bit separate from our festival. That was a big request, so we heard everyone and we're trying to make that happen. Let's see, basketball season, we're doing registration for basketball, so anyone that wants that, we've got that up and rolling. It's on our rec desk. The tree lighting is coming up. It's going to be a little bit different this year since we don't have the community room anymore. Those are now offices. We're going to keep it kind of light and simple. We do have a guest speaker who's going to come out and do a message, and that's one of our local pastors, so we've confirmed that. We're going to have some Christmas carols, some drinks. Miss Mary K. Horton is going to come and do the, I think she does the night before Christmas. Yes. And that's a Hardeeville tradition, so we're going to try and continue some of those traditions. And of course Santa will be arriving. We can't tell you exactly when, but he will be there. His grotto will be set up, and I think the kids can drop off their letters to Santa that night. And we are looking for volunteers to help, with the drinks and that kind of stuff, and help with Santa. So we definitely need some elves if anyone's interested. And then we also have the Santa's Toy Box. There's several different folks that are helping with that. We've got Hilton Head Lakes is chimed in. They're going to be doing some stuff this year. So we've put them in contact with the school. They're doing part of the Angel Tree. And they've actually stepped up above what they did before. And now they're going to, I think, do three or four families. And they're also going to, provide for that whole family, not just the kids. So that's pretty awesome. And our families certainly need it. And then, of course, we have Sun City, who will be donating several of the toys, and we have that drop-off pickup on the 4th. There's several different areas that we'll have around town that have drop-offs. So if there's anyone in the business that you want to take a box, let me know. We'll get it. It doesn't have to be Hardeeville. It can be Ridgeland. It can be everywhere. But the toys do go back to the elementary school here. So, and that does serve both Ridgeland and Hardeeville. Just so. Groundbreaking. We sort of had a groundbreaking. it kind of got rained out. But we did go through with our luncheon. We were very fortunate that the Vukolek family, who donated the land that the rec center is going to be on, actually paid for that. So it was a really nice groundbreaking event. And we had all kinds of folks there, not just Hardeeville. There was Jasper County, Ridgeland, Beaufort County. It was a really good mix of our entire community, so it was pretty cool. And then, of course, everyone knows about Tyler. And we also have the tree lighting flyer that's on here as well. But other than that, that's pretty much it. We're still kind of coming down. I will tell you,
Are we
too.
doing a Christmas parade this year or we're not?
The city doesn't do the Christmas parade. That's Miss Ava with the Greater Hardeeville
But
Chamber.
are they planning to do it?
I believe she is. We are still.
haven't heard anything. So.
Yeah, I think so. We are still waiting. We sent her an email trying to get me, her, and Sam together so we can figure out their routes and help them out. But if they do, my understanding is it's supposed to be the second Saturday of, that's tradition or something with Hardeeville. I'm not sure.
And during the day?
I'm not
last year
sure.
was
It
kinda
was
dark
last
and
night.
rainy?
The
Yeah,
last
it
two
was that
have been
night.
at night, and
Yeah, I'm not sure.
usually it's on the same
Yep.
day as the Christmas tree lighting.
Yeah, we're separating it a little bit differently this year. So, yeah, we're trying to do the tree lighting a little bit more traditionally. So it is focused all around the Christmas tree. But as the rec center gets built, we have lots of opportunity to do some more programming, breakfast with Santas, all that kind of stuff. So we'll see how it all pans out and see. So yeah, and I do want to give kudos to Miss Brittany. Brittany is not here. She did a phenomenal job for the trunk or treat. We had not quite 50 trunks, but pretty close to it, and we had close to 600 to 700 kids out there. It was crazy. Every year it gets bigger and bigger, and we have to buy more and more candy because trunks run out of it quickly. So it was phenomenal. I was very, very proud. We had so many kids. So, and then a chicken. We had a chicken. It was great. And we
Saw
did.
the chicken.
Yes, and a little spooky house and all that kind of stuff. It was really fun. We had to change it up a little bit because the rides were there, and so everyone just kind of jumped right in, and she did a phenomenal job. So if you see Brittany, tell her, great job. But other than that, that's pretty much it.
All right. Anybody have any questions for Jennifer before we move on to our issues and concerns?
Oh, I'm sorry, no.
You're moving on to issues.
Yeah,
and
I'm moving on already.
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to take a couple of minutes, and it's not an issue or a concern, it's really a kudos. It's not easy to sit up here and pat yourself on the back. Festival on the Main, amazing job by Jen, Brittany, Tyler. I've been involved with many community events of all different sizes, and for the three of them, plus the other departments that helped out to pull that off, for the size and detail that it was phenomenal. It really was an amazing thing to watch. The preparation was there. I helped Tyler a little bit. It was just almost picture perfect.
Thank you.
I don't know what the percentage was of staff that participated, but I'd say it was at least 95%. I mean, I saw people from every department, and I know them. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I know when somebody's missing, but I was just really impressed with everything. And some people said it was too spread out, but I liked it that way. Because you didn't have all the congestion that we've had in the past.
Mhm.
I thought it was very well done
I
too.
didn't think it was spread out too much. It kind of gave you, had something to eat at the beginning. By the time you got to the end, you were
Yeah.
ready to eat something.
Well, and things were separated out so that if
Yeah,
you were
we did.
interested in this, you wanted to
Yeah.
ride the rides, you were over in this area, and if you wanted to listen to the music, you could go over in this area, and I thought it was very well done.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I know we worked very hard. Brittany and I have got, well, I have quite a bit more gray hair. I know Tyler too. The vendors are really one of the hardest. It's hard to please everybody. You know, you want to make sure they're going to make good money, and trying to put them in the right placements and all that stuff. So, Tyler and Kevin did a phenomenal job.
I'd say the selection of vendors was perfect.
Yeah, we definitely had a really good mix. And so I don't think we had any complaints with food. Everyone had a really good mix, so, yeah. Yeah, we worked our tushes off, so we wanted to make sure our community had something they could be proud of.
It was nice. Anybody else? Okay, if not, can I get a motion to dismiss?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right. I don't even have to ask all in favor. I know we're all in favor.
Aye.
And I guess we'll see you next, or is there a December meeting?
There is a monthly meeting, always, every meeting. It's always the second Tuesday of every month. The next meeting is on Monday, December the 9th. But hopefully you all will be at the tree lighting. You know, certainly bring your kids, grandkids, because
Oh, yeah.
all the kids will get something from Santa. So.